Tonight, the Premier speaks on Jeremy Harrison resigning as government House Leader and another cabinet shuffle. Also, a friendship that has gone the distance after escaping the war in Ukraine. Plus, Regina gets ready to host Mosaic 2024. We introduce you to some of the people behind the cultural magic.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Monday, May 27th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Haven Dubois has been a mom with a mission ever since her son drowned in a creek in 2015. She's camped outside the legislature and slept outside the Regina police station. Anything to get attention and to get answer. Today, a coroner's inquest into her son's death began, and our Alexander Kwan was there.
It has been 9 years since Haven Dubois was found dead in a creek in East Regina. A coroner's investigation at the time said the 14-year-old boy died from an accidental drowning and that marijuana use was a factor. But Haven's mother, Rochelle, wasn't satisfied with that finding and has pushed for a coroner's inquest. That inquest began this morning. 6 jurors have been selected, 4 are men and 2 are women. Half are Indigenous. The inquest began with emotional testimony from Haven's mother. Rochelle said that on the day her son died, he wanted to stay home from school, but she told him he had to go. Haven had only been a student at F.W. Johnson High School for a short time, and it was his third school that year. She says Haven had been in some trouble and was under pressure to join a street gang. At approximately 10 in the morning of May 20th, 2015, she received a call informing her that some of Haven's clothes had been found on a bench near the creek. She raced to the school, where she says school officials insisted Haven was at a career day in Emerald Park. They eventually informed Rochelle that Haven was not with that class. That kick-started a missing persons search, and police told Rochelle to wait for Haven at home. Rochelle would eventually make her way down a nearby path and find her 14-year-old son partially submerged in the water. CPR was attempted, but he was ruled dead at the hospital. Rochelle told the coroner's jury, "I was there when he was born, and I was there to find him." The mother also said a second coroner's report was released, one that removed the reference to marijuana being a contributing factor in Haven's death. The inquest is expected to run until Thursday. 13 witnesses are expected to be called. The jury will determine a cause of death. They will not assign blame, but could make recommendations on how to avoid similar deaths in the future. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
Premier Scott Moe says he does trust that Sask Party MLA Jeremy Harrison has been truthful with him. Moe's comments come today after allegations 2 weeks ago from Speaker Randy Weeks. Harrison resigned last week as government House Leader, admitting one of those allegations was true, that he did bring a gun into the legislative building about a decade ago. Weeks also accused Harrison of seeking permission to bring a handgun to the legislature and attempting to bully the Speaker. Last week, the Premier had said all of those allegations were unequivocally false. But on Friday, Harrison made the admission and resigned. Today, Moe was questioned by reporters at Government House after announcing a new cabinet appointment.
That it was unequivocally false, unequivocally.
Which is what I was provided at that point in time.
And you trusted that?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is that not a lie?
You know, there's other incidences where a minister says something in the House. I think I could point to a couple where they come out on further reflection, or like, you know what I said in the House wasn't exactly correct, and they'll correct it at the first opportunity. And I think that's what you saw happen here. I also think that a significant part of this is a communication breakdown between the House leadership teams and the Speaker's office, and for that I bear responsibility.
Do you think you owe Mr. Weeks an apology?
No.
What is the bar to take him down from cabinet? What would the bar be? Again,
it's on individual instances in every thing, and ultimately it's a decision by myself or whoever else is sitting in the chair. The bar at this point is not a number of allegations referencing a number of things from over a year ago or over a decade ago.
Premier Moe also said that Jeremy Harrison would make himself available later in the day, and he did. CBC spoke to the Meadow Lake MLA and asked him to explain.
You know, I want to apologize to the people of the province. I want to apologize to the people who were working in the building, when this occurred around 10 years ago. I want to convey that apology sincerely because I mean it. This was a mistake. This was a bad error in judgment. It wasn't against the rules at the time, but look, I should not have done it, and I've taken accountability for that. Premier and I had a discussion, and I'm no longer government house leader based on that discussion, which is a job I've held for a long period of time, and I am accountable though, and I look forward to making up for this mistake as we go forward. But it was a mistake, and I apologize for it.
All this on the same day that Premier Moe appointed Terry Jensen as a new cabinet minister. Jensen replaces Prince Albert Carleton MLA Joe Hargrave, who announced this morning he won't seek re-election for personal reasons. Jensen is the MLA for Martensville-Warman and becomes Minister of Sask Builds and Procurement. New statistics show people experiencing homelessness spend much more time in hospitals than a standard patient. It's about 3 times longer in hospitals already strained by capacity. As Dean Patterson reports, it's an issue with housing that's led to longer filled beds in hospitals.
Most hospital stays in Saskatchewan last about 7.5 days, but that's not the case for everyone. People experiencing homelessness in Saskatchewan stay, on average, for 22 days. In Canada, the gap between the two is more narrow, 15 days for someone homeless compared with 8 days otherwise. Part of the issue is underlying conditions that have typically gone untreated. The other is housing.
If they do not have a fixed address, it's a little bit more complicated and it takes a bit more time.
Most standard patients can be sent home to mend, but in these cases, the hospital looks for supports to replace those found at home, like family and a consistent bed.
We want to make sure that when the patient is discharged, they're able to access the care and be in an appropriate environment, that they remain healthy.
But that's not always possible, and it's up to the patient to access supports lined up for them. Even if there are shelter beds available, they're not always suitable.
If there's someone being released from hospital who still needs help, for example, going to the washroom, we don't have the staffing and the ability to help with that type of thing.
Taylor says hospitals are one of the mainstreams for people coming to the shelter. The answer, he believes, is more supportive housing. Until then, he sees no alternative available right now. The 75-bed Saskatoon shelter has been hovering at capacity since winter, and city hospitals have been dealing with overcapacity for years, but neither is an ideal space for someone recovering from a hospital stay.
Well, until a solution's found, what else are you going to do?
Dane Patterson, CBC News, Saskatoon.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are eyes forward, preparing for the start of the CFL regular season. After 2 weeks of training camp in Saskatoon and their second preseason game win over the weekend, the Green and White are back home in Regina. Head coach Corey Mace says he's happy with the intensity he's seen on both sides of the ball. But now he says those players need to stay focused while other teams finish week 3 of the preseason.
The main thing is just seeing how, knowing that we don't have a game, you know what I mean? Usually people got something to look forward to get them amped up. Well, we're done, so how are you going to approach each day of practice? Because it's still training camp, it still counts. You got to be just as detailed in the playbooks, all the same things we preach. You should come out here and treat each practice like it's a game. So we'll be dialed because nothing's changing for us as far as coaches and evaluation.
At this point, May says there's no official decision on who will back up starting quarterback Trevor Harris. The Riders' regular season kicks off next Saturday, June 8th in Edmonton against the Elks. The club's looking to bounce back from a disappointing finish last year. The team lost its last 7 games and missed the playoffs. Overcast, but still a pretty nice day in the Bridge City. Looks like we've got a couple of sunny days in the forecast before we're due for more rain. Ethan will have your forecast after the break. Stay with us. At least 20 people, including 4 children, are dead after a series of powerful storms struck the United States on the weekend. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kentucky were hit. The storms occurred just north of where an early season heat wave is setting records. The governor of Kentucky is the latest to declare a state of emergency. The storms destroyed homes and businesses, and some communities have been left without power. Forecasters are warning that the severe weather could shift to the East Coast.
The weather update is brought to you by Capital GMC Buick Cadillac. New truck trade-up is on now.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. We had a pretty nice weekend, and now, again, a little unstable.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, nothing like the storms that they've been seeing down in the States. This is the time of year when those storms really start to take off. And yeah, a little bit of some shower and thunderstorm activity in south central and southwestern Saskatchewan this afternoon. None of these storms severe at this point, but otherwise you can see radar showing some clearing conditions through the province, really. It's this cold front that separates the storms to the southwest from those clearer skies as you go off north and east. Few showers in the southeast this afternoon now starting to make their way out as well. Temperature-wise, we're pretty much seasonal, especially in western parts of the province. And I'll show you here, you can see this temperature divide that we have right now. Still over 20 degrees on the western side of the province and back into the mid-teens still in eastern regions. And in Manitoba today, they're seeing temperatures still hanging back even further with all that snow that they got on Friday and for the first part of the weekend. But as we get into these next couple of days here, high pressure starts to dominate our atmosphere, something that we haven't seen in a little while. And that means tomorrow should actually be a mostly sunny day for a lot of the province, save for the far north where we're seeing a bit of some cloud and showers move through. Short-lived, though, that high pressure will start to exit, and our next area of low pressure starts to move in as we head into early Wednesday morning, bringing some cloud to western sections. Middle part of the afternoon, some showers and thunderstorms possible in a line as the cold front from this starts to form. And then as we get it later into Wednesday night and early into Thursday morning, possibly some overnight showers and thunderstorms for south and central. That moves out Thursday, but leaves us with kind of a cloudier and cooler day for really all the province as we head into Thursday and possibly part of Friday. Rainfall total is going to be really dependent on where thunderstorms pop up, but there could be general amounts in the range of maybe 5 to 15 millimeters, and if some of those heavier pockets of showers come to fruition, could be some amounts over 20 in the southeast. And as these systems start to move through, winds are going to start to pick up over these next couple of days here, especially as we head further into the week. Could see some gusts south and southwest upwards of 50 to maybe 60 kilometers an hour. But with that high pressure tomorrow, our jet stream starts to change. Some of this warmer air underneath starts to move through as we get into tomorrow and Wednesday. And then as that low pressure system moves in for Thursday, things start to break down a little bit again. And that's when temperatures will also begin to drop. So for Regina, things looking like this over the next few days. A little bit gusty tomorrow with mostly sunny conditions. Risk of some late afternoon thunderstorms Wednesday. Much cooler for Thursday, almost by 10 degrees. And then things still gusty for Friday on the other side of that system before an improvement as we head into the weekend. And for Saskatoon, again, a nice day tomorrow, albeit a little bit windy here and there. You'll catch that same system as we head into Thursday, and then temperatures warming up as we begin June, the start of meteorological summer, Sam. So some summer temperatures to go along with that.
Let's see the smile. Oh, summer makes me so happy.
Isn't it great to be back?
So good. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
We're back with more after the break. Thousands of Ukrainians have made Saskatchewan home since their country was invaded by Russia more than 2 years ago. Many separated from loved ones, and that includes Kira Polyshuk in Swift Current, who was just 8 when the war started. She was torn apart from her best friend, and as Bonnie Allen tells us, both girls have made it to Canada in extraordinary ways.
At 11 years old, Kira Polyshuk is clearly smart and strong. The girl from Ukraine, now living in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, excels in English and holds a brown belt in Taekwondo. Hi. But her life has been turned upside down since the war in Ukraine began. And when times are tough, this is who she turns to. Her best friend from Ukraine, Sasha Filipchuk, now living in Sudbury, Ontario.
Old friends always know how you feel. They they know a lot about you, so they can figure out when you're sad or happy.
They were best friends in Ukraine. The day before Russia's invasion was Sasha's 9th birthday and the last time they'd see each other in person.
We were a little confused because people were saying different things and we didn't know which to believe.
As the war began, their town near the capital was immediately hit. Kira's family fled west. She and her mom say they tried to hide their fears from each other.
I just stayed brave for them.
And you were being brave for her.
Yeah, we team. High five my team.
Sasha's family hid in their basement, then tried to get out, unaware they were driving into a massacre in Bucha. Russian forces shelled their car, killing Sasha's stepfather. She was shot in the left arm.
And the car was burning. That's why I just took her from the car and we started to run.
They hid for 2 days until Sasha's arm became infected with gangrene and had to be amputated. A doctor shared her story and she made headlines for what she said in her hospital bed. "I don't know why the Russians shot me. I hope it was an accident and that they didn't mean to hurt me." Kira was crossing the border into Poland when she received the news that her best friend had been shot.
I was really worried. I didn't know what's going to happen tomorrow or in an hour.
In Poland, Kira's mom accepted an offer from a stranger, a woman from Austria, who invited them to come live in her house for free. Meanwhile, Sasha and her mom were taken to Italy for more treatment and a visit from the Pope.
You know, it was like in a dream. It was like, you know, it took maybe 5 minutes or so. I couldn't say anything.
But still, Sasha had nightmares.
I was just scared that somehow Russian military will visit our hospital.
Known as True Limb.
By August 2022, Sasha and her mom were flown to the United States to receive a high-tech prosthetic arm, a symbol of hope and resilience for many. Then, through Canada's fast-track program, they moved to Sudbury, where Sasha's mom, Yulia, has a friend. She refuses to dwell on the past.
We can't cry when our kids seeing us, right? We have to be strong. I have to look forward.
After 8 months in Austria, Kira and her family said goodbye to their guardian angel. And moved to Canada too, under the Fast Track program. A friend guided them to Swift Current.
We are pretty lucky. There is some people in Ukraine that got worse, and we got pretty lucky. I'm glad that all of my family is safe and that we're all together.
The girls had hoped moving to the same country would mean they would reunite, but so far the distance and cost has prevented that from happening. They still lean on each other from afar.
It helped me to be happy.
Their connection unbreakable, just like their spirits. Bonnie Allen, CBC News, Swift Current, Saskatchewan.
Well, now that we all have the warm fuzzies, give us the warm fuzzy forecast.
A little warm, I think, for sure tonight in Regina. Possibly some fog, though, once again overnight tonight. Winds a little bit breezy, and those are going to pick up as we head into tomorrow for Regina, gusting southeast 30 in the morning. Likely getting up to 40, maybe 50 by the afternoon, but still double-digit territory by 8 a.m. and full sunshine by the time we hit the afternoon. Could be close to 20 degrees. For Saskatoon, clear skies at midnight, 10 degrees, and a little bit breezier, I think, for you at times tomorrow. Winds already over 30 by 8 a.m., but again, sunny conditions for Saskatoon for the afternoon. Those winds 40 to 50, and looks like, Sam, we may be escaping the frost overnight as those temperatures continue to warm up.
You used the F word on TV.
I did, but in a good way.
Thanks, Ethan.
You're welcome.
And before we leave you tonight, later this week, you can travel the world without leaving Regina. Mosaic 2024 is back with 18 pavilions featuring food, dance, music, and traditions from several countries. We're putting a spotlight on those people behind those pavilions this week, starting in the Philippines. Alvin Polga tells us how he went from growing up here to a wild celebrity ride in Manila before coming back home.
Based on the response here at Singfest 10, would you ever come back to another Singfest? Oh yeah, please bring me back next year.
I interviewed Kanye West, Missy Elliott, Katy Perry, Lupe Fiasco, Pharrell Williams. I was born here in 1982, went to Wilfrid Walker for elementary school, French immersion, Campbell Collegiate, French immersion, U of R alumni. I had an opportunity to go to the Philippines and explore it with my dad. And that opportunity led to another opportunity of actually living there, experiencing the culture and working out there as a TV host, commercial model, and a television personality.
And I'm Alvi, and we're here in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Singapore.
The best parts for me personally were traveling to exotic locations that I would never have otherwise had the opportunity to do. They sent me to Borneo, jungles in Borneo. They've sent me to tattoo festivals, music festivals. They sent me to Singapore for Formula One. I did that throughout my 20s. So from the age of 21 to 29, I was about to hit 30 and I was missing something. I missed my family. I missed Regina. A lot of people don't believe that, but that's true. I'm born and raised Reginian, and Regina's home. All my family's here. My family and I are we're tightly knit. So that was heavy on my heart, not being able to be there with them and making memories like that. So I came back home. Before I lived in the Philippines, I admit I had no real, I really didn't have an idea of what it was to be Filipino. It really took me to go in and live in the Philippines for a few years to understand and really truly identify with my heritage. When you walk in to the Viterra building for the Filipino pavilion, it really truly feels like you're walking in the Philippines. You're going to the Philippines. You're surrounded by Filipino culture, and you can't get that anywhere else.
And you can learn more about Mosaic at reginamosaic.ca. And in terms of hockey, first intermission, the Moose Jaw Warriors are trailing the Londonites 2-1 in tonight's game of the Memorial Cup. We are back tomorrow night at 6. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.